Hi, I'm Joss Whedon. Welcome aboard my ship, Serenity.
Here we are on the bridge of the second Serenity, the first one having been dismantled after the series was canceled. You're going to notice a couple of differences. One of them being that this one was more expensive.
This is a special feature that was not here before. This, I've decided, controls the attitude of our thrusters.
We built the bridge pretty much the way we had. We tried to make it a little more exciting, a little more cinematic, and it's got a lot of blinking lights, and as we all know, blinking lights means science.
You push the buttons and they light up. That just, to me, that's a spaceship.
See, I think everybody's going to learn a lot about science from me because I know about the blinking lights. Why don't we go into the rest of the ship?
These things were actually in the TV show, where all of those other panels were. We had these, which were always keen to store drinks, to store your script, to store all the little things that you want hidden whenever they yell action.
That's probably mine from 2 years ago. Come right this way. As we enter the bridge, we come into what are known as the crew quarter hallway. These ladders go down into our imaginary bunks down below. Kaylee's room, of course, the one with all the lights. This one's my room, where the magic happens.
It looks exactly the same as the TV show, except we've got a couple of extra feet as far as width goes that will accommodate the bigger acting that we do.
It's where people come to have conversations about things that have gone on. It's an after-dinner mint of a room.
This is our kitchen. It's darn near the same. It's, of course, our lounge area like we had before, where we basically lounge.
This entire section and the bridge are built on rollers. They have these giant pistons that can actually shake the entire set. So rather than doing this thing where we go, now we're actually shaking the ship. Yeah, that says feature film to me. Come this way.
This is our engine room, of course, where Kaylee works.
Kaylee has her own workbench now. This is her little spot right here, and most times we find this area on fire.
This is the turbocharged version of the Firefly. Before, it seemed like it needed a hand crank on it, and it's a little bit more futuristic.
Over in the foredeck hall, there is a entranceway that leads down to the cargo bay.
Let me show you the cargo bay. Come with me.
We're walking, and we're stopping. And we're walking again.
Okay, so this is the cargo bay. It's on the front end of Serenity.
She's not unlike the one in the TV show, except very much more textured, more with sort of an adherence to the outside of the ship.
As you can see, it's quite spacious, and up above, that is our new mule. It's amazing what a few million extra dollars can do in your budget. That's a hovercraft.
Jane's workout station.
I get to do a little weight stuff.
Since the series, he got some new weights. These are nice and shiny. The last ones he had were kind of rusty.
Jane's got a lot of guns.
We could continue through, but it looks to me like they're working there, which, I think I have to get to work too.
Thanks for coming aboard, and leave me alone.
Look, everybody, Jane's... Roll 2 cameras, please. Rolling.
And action! Apparently, when you shoot film, you need a cinematographer.
We like this? We like this.
I met with Jack Green fairly late in the process and just completely fell in love with him.
Let us in movement as we go. Yes, sir. Thank you. We'll do that.
He is the sweetest guy.
Don't tell anybody!
And the fact that he makes gorgeous cinema is also really useful.
Jack Green, adding a little magic.
He's extraordinary with light. He doesn't use a lens, he doesn't use an eyepiece, he just knows how film sees. I need a little more, I need to know.
Let's go to the right a little bit with the chassis, please.
Jack and I had this rapport, and I actually said to him at one point during the shoot, Jack, if you want to finish my sentences, you have to let me start them. And there was one just bizarre example for River fighting the Reavers. Jack, he's always putting the light where he wants your eyeballs. I'm like, we gotta do something there with the light. We've been in the black room a lot. The emergency lights lights came on, we can justify something strange, but I don't know, we could put a pin spot on her and follow her and have everything fall into darkness. That's stupid. I don't know. I gotta talk to Jack. So I go to Jack. Jack, I don't have anything to pitch, but I want to do something cool in this scene. And he's like, okay, well, you're probably going to make me take them down. But I took the liberty of putting up some pin spots. I'm just like, what did you say? And he thought, oh God, he hates it. Because I stared at him like, get out of my brain!
Let's show this to Joss, and the 14 goes over here.
Early on, when we were still location scouting and, you know, just working out stuff, he had just come on. He mentioned that he had hired a few people who, interestingly enough, all had the same last name as him. He said, you know, they're all great at their jobs, but I'm not putting them all on the same camera because they are siblings after all.
You guys got nothing else better to do. I mean, my God, there's more interesting people to photograph than us.
His son Ryan was our B camera operator. His son Peter was our A camera focus puller, first assistant, and his daughter Heather was our second assistant on B camera.
Hey, Mark.
It's like Robin Hood and his merry band. They're extraordinary.
So the red button is focus, right?
They're incredibly fun to work with, and they get along. I constantly be like, do you guys know that you're a family? Can there be some bitterness? Can you compete? Something?
She's just my little sister. I don't get it.
When we say the crew was like a family, we never mean it this literally. It was a privilege to be around those people.
The boss, the camera department would like you to have the A slate for your first movie.
That's my Jack Green story.
You see, it's not so important what you liked, but more so what you don't like.
That's true. Hey, thank you.
No problem, Jack. I'm here for you.
In the fall of 2002, a new and highly anticipated sci-fi series called Firefly debuted on the Fox television network. Fans of writer-director Joss Whedon eagerly awaited this new action drama that would explore the frontiers of outer space. But after only 11 episodes, the show was abruptly canceled. Firefly's supporters, however, were numerous. Fan sites quickly sprung up all over the internet, protesting the sudden end to a much-loved show. Then, in the fall of 2004, in a very unusual move, another studio decided to resurrect Firefly, but this time as a major motion picture, Serenity. Stay with us as we bring you the unusual story of how a television show rose from the ashes of cancellation and was given a second chance to take back the skies.
Hi, I'm Adam Baldwin. I play a man called Jane in the upcoming sci-fi action film Serenity. My character is the public relations officer of a crew aboard a transport ship hauling some pretty dangerous cargo around the raggedy edges of the verse. That's universe for those of you stuck in the 21st century. Serenity is a thrilling heroics adventure straight from the mind of writer-director Joss Whedon, my personal hero. Sit back and enjoy one hell of a ride. Oh, and if you stick around, there's a shiny new clip from the movie we're just itching to show you.
When you're making a movie, you've got to amp it up. You've got to go to a greater scale. And your hero is going to be heroicaler. Yes, that's a word. Now. A movie should leave people with the feeling that they have been through something with people they care about, but after something more than that, and after something that makes people go, I need to see that again. I need to live with those people. When it comes to bells and whistles, not a problem. Do we have hovercrafts? We do. Do we have spaceships? Yes. Cannibals? Yes. Gunfights, fistfights, sword fights, everything that you could possibly want in a movie.
Those rocks, give them a kiss!
I write for that rush. I write for that moment when you just go, oh God, I needed to see that, or I needed to feel that. The story of Serenity is basically about people who are living in space, but not living in grandeur, but who are more the fringe people, the people that the Enterprise would have just blown right past.
Is that the primary buffer panel?
It did seem to resemble.
Did the primary buffer panel just fall off my Gorham ship for no apparent reason?
Here we are 500 years in the future. We've used up the Earth, so we've moved on to a new solar system where once we had new countries to explore, we have new planets. We've terraformed them all to be useful for human life.
The central planets formed the Alliance, and now everyone can enjoy the comfort and enlightenment of true civilization.
The forming of the Alliance causes a power so great that there's no way it can justly rule over the entire universe. And so that's where the utopian vision stops, because whenever you create some kind of utopia, you find something ugly working underneath it.
People don't like to be meddled with. We tell them what to do, what to think. We're in their homes and in their heads, and we haven't the right.
It's about the best of intentions carry with them the worst of consequences occasionally.
We're not telling people what to think. We're just trying to show them how.
The movie revolves around River, who has been manipulated by the Alliance. She's psychic. She's been driven somewhat insane and filled with secrets she'd rather not know.
Make them stop! They're everywhere!
She has escaped. Her brother has taken her out because he wants her to have her life back. The Alliance cannot really tolerate that.
Whatever secrets she might have accidentally gleaned, they're buried beneath layers of psychosis.
Secrets are not my concern. Keeping them is.
Because even the best of societies has ways of keeping itself powerful that are unsavory, and she is one of those ways.
Do you know that girl?
I really don't.
River brings us to Mal and his crew on the ship, Serenity.
This is the captain. We have a little problem with our entry sequence, so we may experience some slight turbulence and then explode.
She comes to them for safety, for safekeeping.
8 months! 8 months you had her on my boat.
I brought her out here so they couldn't get to her.
Mal's taken River in, however mercenary his reasons, and discovers that he basically has, a time bomb on his hands. The central question for the crew is this Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, or is this alien?
The only people she's a threat to is us on this boat.
And so Mal has put them in the exact kind of danger he's been looking to avoid for the last few years.
Do you understand your part in all this?
Do you?
This is what I do, darling.
He's not an evil man. He hasn't lost his moral compass completely, but he's just given up on the idea of the decency of human nature.
I look out for me and mine. That don't include you, lest I conjure it does.
The movie is really about him discovering if there is, in fact, something worth believing in, something worth fighting for again.
Where are you hiding, little girl?
500 years in the future, life isn't all that glamorous. Except for Inara, Zoe, and Kaylee. River, not so much glamorous as, well, crazy. Most times our crew gets along like a big happy family. We have our squabbles and tussles, but there's more to family than fighting. There's also hitting. But when we all band together, we can face down just about anything. Except Reavers.
Get them inside the vault!
You want to run this ship?
Yes.
The movie has 9 characters, and everybody in it is the hero of their own story, and they're all equally important.
Y'all got on this boat for different reasons, but y'all come to the same place.
Every character has their big hero moment, something that's really, really cool that they get to do.
Hands and knees and heads bowed down! Everybody down!
Mal is somebody who takes charge.
If I'm wrong, you best shoot me now. Or we could talk more.
He's very protective of the people around him, but at the same time, he can never admit that he is actually any kind of a hero, which he, of course, actually is.
If I hear a word out of any of you that ain't helping me out or taking your leave, I will shoot you down.
Mal is not that nice a guy, but he sees something of himself in River, in that the Alliance has taken something away from him, his freedom. I think he probably has more in common with River than anyone else on that ship.
And the movie revolves around the story of River. What is her secret?
People are going to learn so much more about River. She's not the timid wilting flower in the corner.
There are hidden reservoirs of strength and determination inside of her, perfect for somebody who is a little bit removed from what's going on in their own little world.
They're afraid of me.
Simon probably had the toughest time in the movie because his dedication to his sister puts him in a position of arguing against Mal. And again, our sympathies are often with Mal even when he's wrong.
One simple job, she'll be fine.
She is fine.
I'm constantly trying to figure out what exactly has been done to my sister and what's wrong with her and dedicate my time and energy to figuring that out.
Zoe, she is such a powerful character.
Do you know what the definition of a hero is? Someone who gets other people killed.
Zoe's passion really is to keep this ship from falling into oblivion. She's that career soldier. She is completely loyal to Mal, but she has an innate understanding of right and wrong. In the time of war, we would have never left a man stranded.
Maybe that's why we lost.
Wash is this extraordinary, almost savant pilot.
I'm a leaf on the wind. Watch how I soar.
I'm not one of the people who leaves the ship to go get the bad guys. I stay on the ship. I kind of think of myself as a getaway driver.
Wash! Baby, can you hear me?
We're moments from air. You got somebody behind you?
Reavers!
Jenna. Stay on the ship and wait for them to call and go, pick us up, things are trouble.
We're coming to you.
He's like an idiot savant. Without the savant. No, without the idiot.
I do have a bunch of savants. The best pilot in the world, the best captain, the best mechanic.
Kaylee, what in the sphincter hell are you playing at?
Everything's shiny, Captain, not to fret.
Kaylee loves machines. She loves being on that ship, keeping it running. She thinks that's a great life.
Don't ride in anything with a Capison 38 engine, they fall right out of the sky. She flirts incessantly with Simon.
Are you okay?
Is he okay?
Kaylee is very much emotionally involved in every situation.
If I truly wanted someone bad enough, it wouldn't be a thing in the verse could stop me from going to her.
Tell that to Inara.
Inara is breathtakingly beautiful and very regal of stature, embodies that sort of ambassador sort of quality.
Is this a bad time?
No, it's as good as any.
Mal is, thoughtless and bumbling and annoying and completely different and perfect for each other.
What are you doing?
I'm praying for you, Mel.
She's extremely attractive, but there's so many complications and so many things that keep them apart.
You came to the training house looking for a fight.
I came looking for you.
If you're going to go in the opposite direction from Inara, you are going to land on Jane. He's a working class guy. He's a blue-collar killer.
Well, I'll kill a man in a fair fight. Or if I think he's going to start a fair fight. That's Jane.
Let's be bad guys.
And then we have Book. There's only a brief mention in the movie that he was ever a member of the crew, but he's clearly somebody who's important to Mal, somebody that, Mal looks to, and who has actual practical advice about the kind of danger that Mal's in.
They'll come at you sideways, hit you where you're weak.
I loved the character of Shepherd Book. He's challenging and he's also inspiring. There are various things about him that you think, oh God, I'd like to be more like that.
They came to me and they said, well, we should have a bigger-than-life villain.
Means an operative. There's trouble you do not know.
A bigger-than-life villain to me is somebody who is so nice and so good and so everything Mal is not, that he hides evil inside a face of genuine caring.
I want to resolve this like civilized men.
There's a little cognitive dissonance with him. He sees what evil is and he hates it. He knows that he does evil. Yet in order to do that, to remove himself like that, he becomes something less than human.
I don't murder children.
I do.
He's somebody whose constant goal is to make everybody feel as good about themselves as possible, even when he's killing them.
We're making a better world.
That is both weird and sick and kind of beautiful.
That girl will rain destruction down on you and your ship.
It isn't safe. For them.
The days and weeks following the cancellation of Firefly were sad and uncertain times indeed. But because Joss never stopped believing that the future is worth fighting for, and our devoted fans never stopped writing letters and calling and blogging, we were finally launched back into the air. But this time as Serenity, the big damn movie.
I never believed in my life so strongly that something was meant to be, and I just couldn't let go of it.
Joss Whedon said, I'm going to keep pursuing this. It's not done. It's not over.
He promised that it wasn't the end, and he was going to shop around and see if he could get somebody else interested.
He meant it. You could see it in his eyes.
I kept the sets up for months. I offered to store them myself. I was, quite frankly, desperate.
And then the fans started rallying to our case, and people on the internet went wild trying to have the show resurrected.
Lo and behold, a year later, we got greenlit, and we're going to do a movie, and I'm really excited.
Action! Go, go! I was over the moon. Snoopy happy dance. Happy feet.
I like having all my buttons back and all my switches. That's one of my favorite things.
Action!
I don't think it actually sunk in for me that it was actually happening until our second week of filming. It was about when I thought, oh my God, I think this might actually happen. Nothing like a major motion picture to make you feel a little bit better about having your TV show canceled.
Redemption.
This was the hardest script I've ever written.
The television show had all these people who loved it, and we had the challenge to preserve what they loved about it.
And at the same time, create a movie that the uninitiated could walk into and not feel like they had to see the television show.
I don't plan on any shooting taking place during this job.
Yeah, well, what you plan and what takes place ain't ever exactly been similar.
The trickiest thing was to make a story that's epic enough that it's not just another episode in these people's lives, that it will change them forever. Surprising thing is how hard it is to make a movie. Because, for a while there I was running 3 television shows at the same time and writing and directing a lot of them myself. And I thought filmmaking would be a gentleman's game. The fact is, it requires every ounce of you. You don't get to go home and rest. You go home or you wake up in the middle of the night and go, I need to do something with that light in that scene or that costume, oh my God, that color.
A new Joss. Felt pretty good. Big budget and a big team of big guys who know what they're doing.
We're just bigger, better, badder.
It's just like the TV show, except cooler.
These people were meant to play these characters. Not just that they were good at it, but that they were meant to.
All these actors got to work on the show for a year, and that prepared them to go to the next level in this.
Joss cast us because he wanted this kind of ensemble dynamic.
We come in on our days off all the time. It's kind of creepy, I guess.
Nathan, he was so warm and made us feel like a family from the beginning. Made it really easy for us to follow suit.
Nathan makes the day go by so fast.
I think we dropped our fuzzy dice back here.
That doesn't always make the director particularly happy.
Everybody clear on the pickup?
So we're taking Madden?
Yes.
Are you clear on the pickup?
No. I was joking around.
Okay, well, what have we learned today?
Joss is boss. We had something that we really invested in, that we really enjoyed. And it was nice to have it back.
To keep the fans excited and to thank them for all the support they've given this project, Joss and the studio arranged a wave of special preview screenings. Before we get to our exclusive clip, take a look at how all that went down. By the way, I'm the shy one.
From the bottom of our heart, thank you for getting us back in the air.
Welcome to Serenity.
I feel like I just watched the next big thing and I was in on the ground floor of it.
We are so happy to have this movie made. This means a lot to us. All the actors and the director, they're really, really involved with the fans.
It's nice to let them know that we really appreciate their attention.
It's a different view of science fiction that you don't normally see.
Anyone could come in who hasn't even heard of the show and get a grasp of who all the characters are in the first 10 minutes.
It's got that Joss touch that it's not any one thing.
He's clever and he's witty and he takes characters and he makes them real.
The timing, the energy, the humor, the action, the effects, just roll.
I wish it was 5 hours long.
When you come across good sci-fi, you share that.
That's why I do this. It's not to make things that people like. It's only to make things that they love.
I love this job.
Well, now we have just enough time to show you that clip. I hope you enjoy it. Hope your friends enjoy it too. This movie was a labor of love, and guns, and grenades, lots of big, loud explosions.
The great thing about writing science fiction is that it's basically like writing everything in history that interests you. You can take from anything, because every piece of history is a piece of human nature.
In certain older, civilized cultures, when men failed as entirely as you have, they would throw themselves on their swords.
Well, unfortunately, I forgot to bring a sword.
It's season 3 of Buffy. I get my 2-week vacation, and the second book I read is The Killer Angels, which is about the Battle of Gettysburg. And right after that, I sort of become obsessed with the idea of life in the frontier, and that, of course, makes me think of the Millennium Falcon, because most things do.
Does George Lucas need a photo of that?
I just wanted to tell a story about people who were living in space, but not living in grandeur and not living in great portent, but who are more the fringe people.
Every man there go back inside, or we will blow a new crater in this little moon.
People that the Enterprise would have just blown right past and never noticed.
Here we are 500 years in the future, and we've used up the Earth.
Earth that was could no longer sustain our numbers, we were so many.
Where once we had new countries to explore, we have new planets. We've terraformed them all to be useful for human life, and it's a vision of the world more or less as it is today.
The one thing I did that I thought was a little utopian was the idea that since America and China are the 2 greatest superpowers on the planet, that once we went out forward and created new planets, that they had merged into the beginnings of the alliance. And that is why everybody who's American speaks Chinese.
Bye, toi, Indonesian.
That these 2 cultures actually settle their differences and become, one great superpower feels very, very real, because that's what's going on right now. Powers, companies are merging into more and more powerful conglomerates.
And now everyone can enjoy the comfort and enlightenment of true civilization.
As the more advanced cultures become more homogenized and spread out into the other worlds where life is tougher and where people are more diverse, there's conflict.
The savage outer planets were not so enlightened and refused alliance control.
I was dealing with the idea of a civil war and the idea of rebuilding and people who had lost the war. This is something that's, a big part of American fiction.
Y'all the brown coats, eh? Fought for independence?
War's long done. All just folk now.
There's very little American fiction about the people who won the war, about the North, the people we all like to be identified with. We're all interested in the South because they lost and we love losers.
He isn't a plucky hero. The Alliance isn't some evil empire. This is not the Grand Arena.
We love a sense of loss in American fiction, and even though Mal wasn't fighting for slavery, I'm happy to say he is someone who fought at a time when he was just crushed by the opposing force, and it changed him.
In the time of war, we would have never left a man stranded.
Maybe that's why we lost.
The forming of the Alliance causes a power so great that there's no way it can justly rule over the entire universe. And so I'm dealing with the people on the fringes who are going, you don't belong here, you don't belong on our soil. Yes, you guys are progressive, you've got great medicine, incredible healthcare plan, you've got freedom of religion, you've got all these great things, and we don't have that stuff. And some of our customs are arcane, and some of them are maybe a little barbaric, but we have a right to be ourselves.
These are just a few of the images we've recorded. And you can see, it isn't what we thought.
And that's where the utopian vision stops, because whenever you create some kind of utopia, you find something ugly working underneath it, and that's basically what this movie is about.
Somebody has to speak for these people. Y'all got on this boat for different reasons, but y'all come to the same place. So no more running.
If anything happens to her, anything at all, I swear to you, I will get very choked up.
It's okay to leave them to die.
If you're gonna have a science fiction movie, then have a hovercraft chase, for God's sake. I mean, come on.
Honestly, there could be tears.
Science fiction is that you have to believe what you're seeing, and some of it can be as distancing as humanly possible, and some of it can be, normal and lived in with just a twist.
I think we dropped our fuzzy dice back here.
The mule skiff chase was probably our most technically challenging sequence in the entire film.
Initially, what everyone had been imagining was we would have something on wheels, and then we would bring visual effects in to take out the wheels and put in the grass and the ground beneath it.
We built several rigs that allowed us to take our mule and hold it far over the edge of our highway.
We'd drive on the road and film the mule going over the grass so that we could see below it, because if you can't see below it, then hovercraft chase, boring. We did a computer animated version of the entire mule skiff chase so that we could all sit down and say, okay, we want that feeling of being there, that down and dirty feeling. You want to go, ugh, their car sucks. They're gonna get caught.
Faster, faster, faster will be better!
What was really cool was seeing how Joss shot it. And you see Adam Baldwin just grabbing onto stuff as he starts sliding sideways, and then you can see everyone reacting like they're holding on. It was really cool to be able to see the work we did in the previs directly relate, and Joss liked it enough that he tied that directly into how he was shooting his live action work.
So they boogie out of there, just when the coast is clear and we're almost through, and all of a sudden...
They're closing on us!
Serenity comes down from the sky and sweeps up the mule, and as it's lifting off into the air, the skiff is going to collide with the bottom of Serenity itself.
This is not your gazillion-dollar budget movie. We had to keep things practical as much as humanly possible, and then when we went to digital, not feel, look, it's the digital shot. And now back to our story.
This is the effects team that most understands that of any effects team that I've seen. They're not looking to show off the cool things they can do. They're looking to help Joss tell story.
The hell? It's okay. I'm gonna leave on the wind. What does that mean?
The post-production process begins during pre-production because we are doing all 3D shots on Serenity. What that means is storyboard, previs, model, texture, animate, light, comp. And that process is a long process that involves many, many people, 127 on our crew. We have another crew at Illusion Arts that's working on our crash sequence. We have another crew at Rhythm and Hues, and we have another crew at PMP. So we have many, many crews basically working on making every single frame of this movie about the story.
What was that? Did you see that?
When we did big CGI composites, we made sure that as much of it was real as humanly possible. Restrictions are great because they make you more imaginative. They make you rethink things. They make you not do the obvious. Because of the time constraints of the movie, we took the generator room sequence as a whole and gave it to Rhythm and Hues. The work they did there was invaluable. And you ask them for a ham sandwich and they're bringing you a pig. I mean, they'll always give you too much.
They basically came to us with a big green hole and would fill it with something big and scary and cool. So we had the freedom to have fun with it and build this big, cool thing. One of the things that we did in the end, as Mal steps on each one of those plates, we actually add just a little bit of rocking so it doesn't feel rock solid. It was something that I felt strongly about getting in, just to really integrate the actors into our computer-generated environment. And the first time we showed that at Film Dailies, Josh goes, "F***ing awesome." And okay, that's, I've done my job. When the director says "f***ing awesome. You've done your job.
It's so cool to see an audience react to something that's fresh and interesting and entertaining, and that's what we're here to do it for.
For example, when Serenity gets through the battle between the Reavers and the Alliance and then gets EMP'd, the tailspin.
In the script it says they get EMP'd and they lose power. What else can we do? You know, what else would be interesting? Well, you know what's really cool is when you see those air show footage, reels where, you see, an accident that's happened and you've got a documentary camera on the ground and you'll see the camera operator just widen out because he wants to not miss it because it's a telephoto lens and he's trying to see it and he can't really see it. So when Serenity got hit, we know it's lost its power, but then like widened way out, have Serenity almost come to a stop and we realize, oh no, it's falling from the sky.
It makes a huge difference to be able to do that previs work ahead of time instead of doing it just afterward, because you're able to tie that stuff together so much better. It's how to move the camera around, how to shake it, and just make it look that much more real.
They showed me, look, we thought it, what if it's doing this, like a jet would, and went and shot everybody falling and spinning and holding on because that thing just, it was gut-wrenching to watch just as a little previs effect with any actor.
That's what our day-to-day job is just to kind of work together and to bring the story to the big screen.
The audience comes in knowing they're going to be immersing themselves in a new world. They're going to be open to that. So they're going to be looking for those visual clues and those things that say, this is what the world is in the future. The idea of this show, Firefly, was very simply, nothing has changed. We've got more technology, we've got more people, we've got the exact same problems, personally and politically and ethically. I put together what I thought was the most extraordinary team and the most extraordinary cast that I'd ever worked with. When the TV show was canceled, the first thing I said was, I'll not rest until I find us another home.
The last episode we were filming was called The Message, and Joss came down to the set and let us know that we were canceled.
We were all pretty crushed, I would say. I don't think we were entirely surprised. There was a little bit of lead up to it. We were hearing things from upstairs that weren't entirely positive, so I think we knew something wasn't right, and it was very abrupt and very upsetting.
We had our party that was going to be our Christmas party that turned into be our wrap party. Joss said, I'm going to keep pursuing this. It's not done. It's not over.
We all thought that would be so amazing, but when does that ever happen? And it was so heartbreaking.
I fell in love with Firefly. I fell in love with my character. I fell in love with the other characters and the cast. When it was taken away, I took it somewhat personally. I was a bit heartbroken. It left me a little bit empty. I certainly had unfinished business with Firefly. Yeah, I wish I never met her. And I wouldn't have failed her.
I just couldn't let go of it. And everybody told me that maybe I should, but I don't deal with grief very well and I don't deal with loss. So I gathered everybody I knew and just said, what can we do? Can we be TV movies? Can another network pick us up? Can there be etchings? I don't care, I need to do this.
It's broke.
Without this, engine don't turn. Engine don't turn, life support won't function. We don't breathe. You want to keep breathing, don't you?
We really just went in all separate directions and started pounding executives at cable channels and at the other networks.
You know the old saying.
When you can't run, you crawl. And when you can't crawl, you
find someone to carry you.
I do remember saying to Tim Minear, at what point does this stop being CPR and become necrophilia?
I guess we do all have different reactions to death.
And then the fans started rallying to our case, and people on the internet went wild trying to have the show resurrected.
I called Barry Mendel, and he went to Mary Parent at Universal. Mary Parent said, there's nothing hypothetical about this. I love this show. I get the movie. Let's do this.
This is the place. We'll buy you the time.
We are all kind of in shock that we actually got here. Not that we ever thought we wouldn't be back, but it just seemed like we all dispersed and we all tried to move on and get over it. And then the first time we stepped back on the ship was really surreal.
It's pretty extraordinary when you consider that this never happens. I mean, we're the Cinderella of movie making, of television shows. So often they just disappear. But this can absolutely be attributed to Joss Whedon. He made this happen. This was his baby. He was not going to stop. He was not going to let go. He did find safe harbor for us.
Joss has, over the years, built an amazing fan base through Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel and Firefly and now Serenity that have been there for us on some of our darkest days. When the television show Firefly was canceled, when Angel was suddenly not renewed after 5 seasons. Our fans, when I say they were ready to march on the network, I'm not exaggerating.
We're extremely grateful for the fans because they're exactly what keep us flying, as Nathan would say. It's why we're here. We have to be completely thankful to the fans.
I don't think any of us were expecting what has happened with the attention we've gotten from the fans. It's just amazing. How do you explain that a show gets put out on DVD and becomes a cult hit? How do you explain that?
Nothing like a major motion picture to make you feel a little bit better about having your TV show get redemption.
Comic-Con was kind of an extraordinary event, and I've been going almost every year for 7 years. And I thought, okay, my TV shows are off, Serenity's still, just started being made. This is going to be the year that not a lot of people show up.
Would you please welcome one of the best, Joss Whedon.
I got shy. I didn't know what to do. I was freaked out.
Last day of Comic-Con in the afternoon, and 5,000 people showed up to give us a standing ovation and to see Joss, see the cast, watch the first footage that had been seen from Serenity. And it was as if Mick Jagger had just walked onto the stage.
Comic-Con was my first experience with a large-scale convention that had fans that were very much aware of our show.
That was a big group of people, standing ovations, screaming. There was a lot of screaming and genuine excitement. You could tell people were genuinely excited. I love that.
It was just amazing that so many people seemed to be so aware and tuned in to the kind of stuff that Joss writes about. It was really rewarding, actually.
We walked out there and looked, out towards everybody, just like, every single face, and everyone was just so happy to have us there. It was very special.
They came out of it, just glazed their eyes, just like, what was that? I'm like, that was fame.
I'm still trying to swallow my heart, get it back down because it keeps beating up into my mouth.
I was so proud of them. They were so cool. And, the executives who were there, oh, that's what this is. Because the Firefly fans, like the Buffy and Angel fans, like true fans, are just hardcore.
It's really extraordinary because the fans are out there, and that's the reason why we're here, is because there are people out there who got the show and who fell in love with the characters and the story as much as we did, and to just be smacked in the face with that energy was just extraordinary and surreal. I want 5,000 people to cheer for me every day of my life.
I can understand fully why people enjoy Joss Whedon as a fan, because I'm a fan too.
We're all fans of the verse that we've created, so we're sharing it between each other. And that can only grow. That can only grow forward and expand. I just can't wait for the rest of the world to jump on this spaceship.
I think the thing that's helped my work is that, yes, I am an artist. I have things to say, etc., suffering, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, I'm a fan. And it's a huge part of who I am, It's a huge part of, why I do this. It's not to make things that people like. It's never to make things that people like. It's only to make things that they love. And these people have just reservoirs of love that are impressive.
So much to us that you're here. And I have one last question for you guys. Do you want to see it again?
Across the country, across all economic boundaries, across all socio-political boundaries, you've got this one thing that everybody loves.
I'm blown away by all the people in line here. They're not here for Joss for other reasons. They're here for Firefly and for Serenity, and that's just amazing to me.
I don't know of any other canceled TV shows that got made into major motion pictures, but Serenity did.
It's not the end. That's what I was most overjoyed about, just the fact that it wasn't over yet.
Hi, I'm Joss Whedon. Before we begin this special screening, I have a little story I want to tell you. It's about a TV show called Firefly. Firefly went on the air a few years ago and was instantly hailed by critics as one of the most canceled shows of the year. It was ignored and abandoned, and the story should end there, but it doesn't. Because the people who made the show and the people who saw the show, which is roughly the same number of people, fell in love with it a little bit. Too much to let it go. Too much to lay down arms when the battle looked pretty much lost. In Hollywood, people like that are called unrealistic, quixotic, obsessive. In my world, they're called browncoats. Now, whether you watched the show or saw the DVDs or whether you've never set foot in the Firefly universe before tonight, the fact that you're here means that you're part of something that's a little bit remarkable. This movie should not exist.
Visita mi canal.
Failed TV shows don't get made into major motion pictures unless the creator, the cast, and the fans believe beyond reason. That's what I've felt. It's what I've seen in the DVD sales, the booths at the cons run by fans, the websites and the fundraisers. All the work the fans have done have helped make this movie. It is, in an unprecedented sense, your movie, which means if it sucks, it's your fault. You blew it. You let us down, but let's not dwell on your failures because the work is not done. I have to finish making it. This is not quite the final cut, and you will notice some placeholders in music and effects, but we're very close. Once we are finished, I have to get people to see it. Now, obviously the studio is going to do their thing. There'll be ads and trailers and all of that joy, but this movie doesn't have stars, and it doesn't have a giant mega budget or even a simple saleable premise. What it has is us, the people who believed unreasonably. If this movie matters to you, let somebody know. Let everybody know. Make yourselves heard. If you don't like the movie, this is a time for quiet, for months of silent contemplation. But when the unfinished credits roll, if you still call yourself a brown coat, remember the millions of people who don't, who might. I want us to do this together. The cast is going to be appearing wherever they can. I'm going to be blogging and stumping and whatever I can think of. We've got can'tstopthesignal.com up and running, I'm fairly certain. We're all doing everything we can to make this the event that it should be. Because remember, they tried to kill us. They did kill us, and here we are. We have done the impossible, and that makes us mighty. Thank you for helping to get this movie as far as it's gotten. Welcome to Serenity.
Not that one, but the very next
Look,
one.
see, right there, yeah. I'm the director. To put the man in the frame of the lens of the camera, then they make the movie to happen for people to see. We'll try that. Okay.
I feel like Serenity is the hardest script I've ever written because I can't give you the next episode. I can't give you a piece of TV and call it a movie. There has to be a reason to make this into a movie, and that took a long time.
See, I'm funny, you go away. I'm eating, you come here.
The television show had all these people who loved it, and that we had the challenge to preserve what they loved about it and what we loved about it.
Good morning, gentlemen. What have you been doing all day?
Slackers. And at the same time, create a movie that the uninitiated could walk into and jump right into the story and not feel like they had to see the television show.
When Josh wrote the movie, I said, read me the first line and the last line. He goes, okay, this is the first line. It was really cool. He goes, and this is the last line. Boy, it sure was weird. Mal died in the first act.
The first draft was really filled out. It's probably maybe 190 pages long.
There you are.
I in fact delivered it to the executives at Universal with the title The Kitchen Sink. And then they said, this is really, really wonderful. Could you write a movie now?
We're gonna need a new Joss.
So he took it back into his office and beat it around and took the scissors to it and produced the script, and he's an amazing writer, but I really felt an amazing accomplishment.
Let's go through it once before we put it on his feet. Action. No.
When we went to Universal to do our first table read, it was scary because we hadn't been those characters for a long time. But everybody came back as if they'd never left. Everyone still had the same little details in their voices and their mannerisms, the way they played the characters before.
It only works on her, Jane.
Gina said her first line, and Nathan said his first line. We were all like, it's just so wild because you just don't think that you're ever going to hear that character say anything else. And it was just so great to be there and to have this whole new thing to look forward to and to work on.
Okay, you didn't open your eyes on your cue. You had one thing to do.
It was like visiting with friends that I had not seen in so long, and to hear the rhythms and know what the voices were instead of just a big question mark. I wonder who's going to play that. Or I wonder. It was just like a big party all over again.
Or maybe nobody could be bunged out a little. That's not so dirty.
Ready, Ann. Roll 2 cameras. Rolling.
And action.
My cartridge fell out of my gun.
And let's cut.
The first couple of weeks of production, we went out on the old Templin Highway up in Castaic and out Sand Canyon, Borrego Springs, hot, dusty, windy, sexy.
You just have to have a little hooch.
Nathan and Adam were just loving it. Gina and I were in the front seat going, can I have a Gatorade? And the boys were like, yeah, we're real superheroes now. They're loving it. They could have stayed out there for a month.
Leave leave Jane. Zoe, go! Drive, damn it!
We were just happy to be in each other's company again.
We have good interaction. We know each other well, and I think it translates, That stuff is just already there. And then the lines and all of what we have to do in the scene comes next. So it's makes it a lot easier, a lot more fun.
I just get an itch right about here when I saw this harpoon. Anyway,
I'm sure it's nothing anyway. Let's go. What's this Miranda place? Let's find the beacon.
You always overreact.
That was the thing I was most excited about with the film, was to get, back with this group of people that I genuinely adore and genuinely respect. I mean, not to toot anybody's horns, but I think they're some of the most talented actors that I've ever worked with.
Sean, I'm so embarrassed. You've got a hickey. That's okay, it'll play. It's a space hickey. That'll be great.
It's funny because we'll go crying because we're laughing so hard, and then the cameras roll, and it's just sort of like everyone's, so professional and makes their choices and works incredibly hard.
Stay in school, kids.
All of us have this energy that we sort of feed off each other, and we get kind of loopy at the end of the day.
It's hilarious, but the next shot picks up before you have made an idiot of yourself.
But it's wonderful. It's wonderful to come into work and see Nathan and laugh.
We're all just laughing and joking around right before take. Yesterday we were shooting something up on the bridge where like the Reaver ships are coming and it's just really tense moment and we're all petrified and we're already rolling. 2 seconds before Joss calls action, Nathan makes a crack. We all crack up. We're like, crap, okay, I gotta straighten up my face.
Wasn't like I see
Nathan has the most inexhaustible energy for entertaining that I've been around, and is really, really funny.
Hello. What's my line? Flippity Jew.
It's getting to be a better movie for Zoe every day. He is constantly distracting. Nathan is quite a distraction.
It's all lies. You know what? It's so tough sometimes, some of the days we have.
You accept that.
If Alan says one more thing to me, I'm gonna explode. Jesus Christ, he's been drinking again, Gina. I told you about this.
Oh, sorry.
It's good to get that off my chest.
Nathan. And his hair. He's a hair actor. He knows it.
Am I gonna have to pull the car
6
over?
out.
You too.
It's a hairy shit. We were doing some hair flinging.
And that's all I have to say about Nathan.
Who's in there?
Excuse me,
You're
sir.
f***ing up my interview.
Yeah, that's it on the DVD.
You, this is my interview, selfish.
I love Nathan. He's so cool. Oh, geez, you were rolling over. Sorry. No, I love him. He's my captain.
Listen, Adam. Yes, sir. I want you to consider for this next take. Yeah. Act less. No, wait. Act more. No. Stop it.
Let's see the final frame.
Just get it right.
Okay.
Nathan.
Yes.
Are you clear on the pickup?
No. I was joking around.
Okay. Well, what have we learned today?
Joss's boss.
The only dysfunction is in the script. In real life, it's sweet. You're not so tough. You're not so tough. You're just a little girl. And there's none of the baggage of it being a real family. It was a little girl. She had a little curl. Okay.
When you're making a movie, you've got to amp it up. You've got to go to a greater scale. And your hero is going to be heroicaler. Yes, that's a word. Now. This was a little more fun to shoot than most of the action stuff I've done because literally 95% of the stunts are done with our actors.
Ready, and action! We knew from the treatment that Summer Glau was going to have a huge fight sequence. And she's a dancer and has an incredible physical memory, but the kind of fighting she was going to do is very different than dancing. See, if you go over, you get stuck on your snow.
She trained with Chad and Hero, and it was clear from the start that she was going to be capable of a lot more than you would ever expect from an action star, let alone an actor who isn't one.
3 months before we started shooting the movie, I started going to training every day, and it was intense.
Right.
I worked really hard to be able to do the fight scenes myself.
Good, breathe.
I would say Summer's one of the main reasons we took the job.
just because of her physical ability. I mean, she had incredible flexibility, her memory was fantastic, she was very graceful, and she had the ability to pick up new motion very, very quickly.
That's round, bring it inside, so boom, focus. That's it, good.
Joss wanted like a lot of unique, different things that he hasn't seen before, and with Summer, with her flexibility, it's like she just has abnormal flexibility, and so we tried to create impossible moves that she could do on her own and get those hero shots with her.
Action, boom, fight.
Summer will work out certain pieces, maybe anywhere from 5 to 15 to 20 moves. And those sequences fit like a puzzle. So by the time she walks on set, she's ready to do this huge amount of physical motion, and we tailor it to go like that.
At that point, we're above her. Can she bring her down and just do like, and then turn around like she's stepping on her neck or something?
Joss was meticulous about choosing all the steps.
Everything can't go her way. Right. The more things she has to deal with at once, the better.
Nothing got by him. He wanted it to be very realistic.
Hey, look, as soon as it touches the ground, look.
It wasn't like, you know, a lot of heavy cutting or, you know, a big wire jump. It was just Summer beating up a bunch of guys. And every time, the 11th take would be faster than the first.
Whoa, nice. Hands up. My finest student. How about yours? Number 1.
We're incredibly fortunate with our entire cast. Obviously, Summer with her dance background. Nathan's probably got some of the best head takes of an actor that we've ever worked with. He just loves to get beat up.
Nathan is not only great at fighting, but great at being hurt. When he gets hit, he really looks like he's in pain, often because he is, but even when he's not. You know, he threw himself all over the place in the service of this movie.
You don't have to do that part of the fight no more.
I always talk about how Harrison Ford's one of those fellows who can really take a punch. When he gets punched, he gets wobbly on his knees. You know he's been punched. You know he's not having a good time. You know that someone's getting the better of him. And I tried to do just that. Copy him exactly. I got rolled. It was a trample of tourists. I think they said they were from Nevada. They're tough. Desert folk, you know. Nomads. That's them. That's the ones. I picked them out of a lineup. They're a lot tougher than they look. And they fight dirty. We were doing a shot where my face hits the floor. And I wanted it to be clear that Malcolm Reynolds was being beaten.
He was slamming his face down on the plexiglass, and I was unaware of it, but there is, you know, take 6 where he's like, what does it say on that slate? I'm like, what is he complaining about? He's really selling this, it looks great.
How many takes does that say?
6.
At one point I said, getting a little tender. And the makeup lady, she keeps coming back to me saying, oh, what a great job. This is really wonderful. This has really turned out really... Wait a second. My face had swollen out to enormous proportions right here on my cheekbone.
Yes. Okay.
His whole face started to swell after that because he thought it would look better. And he's like, hey, it's a movie. I'm like, yeah, but it's only Serenity.
You turned a trick into an actual character. That's you are the movie star.
Which is why I copy Harrison Ford all the time.
Well, that is why you are a movie star. Joss is a very clever man. I like the way he writes. I like the way he envisions things. I like his ideas. And I think my job is the best because I get to come in and play the part and sweep away with all the credit. You know what I mean?
If only you could do that on film or anything. It's cool.
Joss? Joss is brilliant. I mean, what can you say? He's so smart, and he's very humble about it, and he's very sweet, and he's very loving, and I luckily get to see that side of him a lot.
And he says, go do the thing.
Joss is among the directors who are very visually motivated. I think some directors are looking only at character and dialogue and their actors, and other directors, I think, are not paying enough attention to their dialogue. And with Joss, he's writing what he's seeing in his head.
Violence. I just want you to explain it carefully.
We get along, the writer and the director, better than usual. I'm not saying there were no catfights. There were a few catfights. There was some mudslinging, falling in the pool, that kind of thing.
I think the energy's cool.
If they exit left.
Yes.
Okay.
Even though it's not the right direction. Okay.
Okay.
Lisa Lassick will complain later.
The writer and the director are now fighting with the editor.
It doesn't completely work for the reasons I stated earlier. Your position is everything perfect. I don't think so.
You know, that's the thing about the process. It's a process.
You as a person have to understand what he's going
Listen, he starts so different from her
Yes,
at the
I know.
beginning.
I know.
So
I
that's what
realize
happens
that.
over the
But I
course
think
of that number.
All I'm saying is,
We will go back and forth about a line. You don't need this line. It does this, it does this. You're missing this, it does this. It takes the energy away. No, it explains this. It goes from here.
it needs to have a grittiness to it.
I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so here, let me back it in.
We're both so passionate about the movie, so our arguments are equally passionate. And, you know, we won't resort to name calling. Some dirty play. But it's all for the good of the movie.
Yeah, this shouldn't ever be an option.
You got it? And I think that is the solution.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
But can I see it on sped?
She's enormously imaginative. She understands narrative perfectly. She has the ability, and this is a really tough thing for an editor to do, to be completely in love with everything she's looking at and still go, get rid of that, don't cut there, that's lame.
Oh, you destroyed the film again. I just couldn't help it.
I think the most surprising thing is how hard it is to make a movie.
Sean gets in, shake a, whoop, here comes Adam.
Joss is a very inspirational filmmaker, and I've known him for a long time, and I know how talented he is. And in a town where there are a lot of talented people, I've never met anybody that works harder.
He's squeezing you and you're squeezing him, and who's gonna win? And it's you.
Everybody tells me how spoiled I am. They say it will never be like this again. Enjoy it while it lasts. You'll never be this happy, and you'll never be with a cast that loves each other so much. But I hope this is the beginning. I hope I get to be on set with Joss 100 times more. He's the best.
I love Summer. She's so
hot. They're just good friends.
Joss Whedon, my hero. He entrusted a character to me that I love. And this is a part and a project that needed to continue to be told. And here we are.
Shiny, let's be bad guys. This is good. It's going really well, and I feel good. I feel like we're workshopping it.
Joss had a passion to do this thing, and he had the desire to make a movie and to keep going with this story and these characters. And there's an energy that comes with that I think shows up on screen.
When you hit Sean, and it was really, I hope that's in. It looked, the way it was tilted.
I grew up wanting to make big summer movies, and to have something truly thrilling and to take something away from it that is actually meaningful, that will keep me up, that will make me go back, because I don't want to understand what I'm being told. I want to think about it. I want to live with these characters and go through what they go through. That's something that I haven't seen enough of lately. So that's what I tried to make.
God, I love this job.
Roll, please, rolling.
Sounds fair. And action!
Get these bodies together.
We got time for grave digging?
Zoe, this time they're gonna rope them together. 5 or 6 of them. I want them laid out on the nose of our ship.
Are you insane?
Put Book front and center. He's our friend. We should honor him. Kaylee, find that kid who's taking a dirt nap with baby Jesus. We need a hood ornament. Jane, try not to steal too much of their shit. Wash.
Check it, sir.
You let him out of frame a little early.
Okay. Okay, guys, checking the gate.
And you like school?
I do. Sometimes things move a little slowly for me.
I imagine they do. What's your favorite subject?
I'm finding physics a challenge.
You're in the graduate program already.
They call me Little Mouse.
Do you think they're jealous because you're so young?
Volker is a little. He plans to become very important.
Did he tell you he was jealous?
Tus
Oh,
trailers.
no.
Visita mi canal.
You feel it?
People tell you things all the time without talking. The way they move, the way they aren't talking.
You're very intuitive.
Simon says I was born with the third eye. He hates when I can tell which girls he likes.
Your brother. He's a doctor, right?
He's a trauma surgeon in Capital City.
Quite a family.
Simon's a genius. I could never do what he does.
I think you could do whatever you put your mind to. That's what the Alliance needs. That's what this institute is all about. Your mind. Letting it do everything it could. Does that sound like something you'd be interested in?
Would I still be allowed to dance?
But you understand why these treatments are important.
I don't think... I'm sorry. I think there's been an error. I think I may not be the right subject for this program.
It's perfectly natural to feel a little nervous.
If it were possible to be transferred, I would like to request a transfer.
You want to be back in Gen Ed.
Please.
You told us that was no good for you. But it was too slow, that's why you're here.
Please. It hurts.
Well, I can help you with that. You know how proud Dr. Matthias is of how you're progressing.
I'm not progressing. It's the packs.
Tell me what you see.
You lost the first one. You cut too deep. He died on the table. One of your attendants cried and you comforted her. We're doing such good work.
Do you understand that that is true? Work we do here is very important, and you're a part of that.
I would like to see my brother.
Well, you can write to him anytime you like.
I would like, please, to see him.
Tus trailers.
Well, I'm
Visita
sure
mi
he's
canal.
very busy.
Yes, I'm sure. Because I have a system. You make an assumption because you have a system. You're symptomatic, it's chronic. You think it's benign, but it has to be cut out. This system is simple. Blanket folded thus, the sheet pulled taut, the mattress can't be trusted, it has to be gutted. I looked under 20 and found a pea, and you wonder why I'm not sleeping? Are you worried that I cut out my mattress for no reason, or that I had a perfectly good reason that you can't see? Can't see anyone. Even the orderlies wear masks.
Why did you cut up your mattress?
I am trying to protect my spine.
Are you worried you might be injured? Your movement trainers have given you excellent
No one will
work.
give me a mission.
A mission.
I have a reason. I'm reasonable. I have a reason. My movement hasn't been dictated yet, but I am not here for nothing. I am a sty. And you know in this spine, there's something wrong with the body politic. Ah! It's sticking at me! It's in the mattress and it's falling inside me! You cut it out! You cut it out! You cut it out!
You're very quiet today. How did your session with Dr. Matthias go?
He gave me a mission.
Really? Did he tell you your mission out loud, or did you just hear it?
He plays hide and seek with me.
Dr. Matthias.
My brother is a doctor. He thinks he can find me, but I'm deep down, and I do not make a sound.
River, what mission did Dr. Matthias give you?
I can't tell you.
You can tell me anything, you know that.
Can't. So, I'll have to write it down.
Mr. Joss Whedon.
Come on! Well, on behalf of all of us here, I'd like to welcome you to Sydney. And so you can always remember your experience, we've got your own brown coat, Aussie style, because it's a dry as a bone, and a handmade patch, so you always know when and where you got it from.
And just because you don't have enough presents already, we have some traditional, and I can't remember, clapping sticks and a boomerang. And from all of us, now you have to hold the mic. We have a book of messages from Australian browncoats. You'll be getting another one of these, but this is from mostly Sydney people. So thank you for coming, and this is from Brisbane. Thank you.
Do you want to actually come back? Just before we start the Q&As, just so you know, and I'll hand it over to Joss. We're going to do roving mics, and each of the ushers has got a number. So when you know that it's your number, please hold the number up so that the sound guys can check and put the right microphone on. But here's Joss Whedon.
Hi guys. When Joan Leslie turned 17, she was working for MGM Pictures, and on her 17th birthday, they rolled out a brand new car, and all the reporters took pictures of it. And I think it was Louis B. Mayer himself gave her the car. And then the reporters went away, and the car rolled away, and she never saw it again. This is just, now I know. Her pain. It's okay. It's all for show. So, I have something really important to say. But I just did for 2 hours, so I don't actually have to say very much, except to answer some questions. But I do have one question of my own. First, is Epona here tonight? Hi. Could everybody do me a little favor? It's a little bit early, but would you guys help me and sing Happy Birthday to Pony? As in, you do sing Happy Birthday here, right? Please. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Epona. Happy birthday to you.
Y tus trailers. Visita mi canal.
She turned 12 today. It's beautiful, and we're all very excited for her. Or tomorrow, I guess. Anyway, that's it. That's all. So now it becomes your time. Your time to ask me the tough questions. No math, okay, up front, and no criticism of any kind, because I'm very tired and I'll just cry. So let's start seeing some numbers of people who actually have questions and people with numbers. Like number 4, coming in first, way in the back. I don't understand the number system, but I will get it.
That working? Hi, Joss. Thanks for coming to Sydney in Australia. I know there must be heaps, but what didn't we see in the movie? What great scenes did you cut?
In an interesting move, I decided not to cut the great scenes. I cut the rather crappy dull scenes, which of course will appear on the DVD in all their dull glory. The most significant, I think, Inara suffered from the butcher's knife the most, because what she had to do with Mal was done so much better with a couple of looks than it was with a lot of the yak that I wrote. So there's one scene of her at the companion training house with another companion. That's probably the biggest chunk that was taken out. And then there's a scene of her and Mal on the shuttle that really went nowhere slowly. I mean, it's very romantic and lovely, but it was in the wrong place at the wrong time. So one of my dreams is to make a sequel so that I can make it up to Marina and give her more screen time. Yeah. Number 3.
Yeah, g'day, Joss. Now that Book's dead, just wondering, we're going to find out about his security clearance from Firefly, where the Alliance recognised him as something else.
Once again, I mentioned the sequel, which is fairly big-headed of me. If more than, say, the people in this room actually come and see the film, then we should, in fact, find that out. If not, I'll just go on the internet and tell everybody.
Hi. Tough question. I was watching Palindromes about 2-3 weeks ago, and there's this big speech about how people never change, how the way you're born is the way you die, and no matter how hard you try, you'll always be the same. Change is a very important part of all of your work. If you really want to change, if you want to become better, if you want to become worse, you can do it. My question is, do people change?
I get worse all the time. I mean, I'm like the picture of Dorian Gray. I just get more awful. Someone out there is not aging or being corrupt at all. That's Todd Solond's latest movie, right? Which I haven't seen yet. Yeah, Todd is not an upbeat fella. I think he takes kind of a dim view of all of us. I believe that people can change certain things. It is possible. And I am talking about change for the better. Change for the worse is very easy. It's usually externally caused, but it's very easy to slide into. Change for the better is probably the most difficult and confusing concept that I've ever embraced, and it does take the better part of a lifetime. But I've seen it happen. I've written about it. I'm trying. But, you know, the jury's still out. I do believe it is possible. I'm just trying to find out if it's possible for me. But I have hope for portions of humanity. This part over here. No. It's these guys. These guys are gonna, they're changing, they're growing. No. 4.
Hey, Joss. One of the most attractive parts of the series was the very strong sense of family. The last 2 hours are simply fantastic, but it did take some pretty dark directions. Do you think the loss of Book and Alan Tudyk will threaten that sense of family in the sequel?
Well, it better. Because if I don't have any drama, what am I going to do? Yeah, the problem is, you know, you have to find what's wrong with the family in order to have anything to say about it. If they're just a merry band who get along perfectly and all link arms and march towards the camera singing La Marseillaise, you don't really have a movie because the threat is external. One of the things that drove me absolutely insane when I was younger, well, I guess I've always been younger than I am because of the passage of time. That's weird. Okay, was Batman 2. Batman Returns, when the Catwoman and Penguin are talking in the trailer, and I was all excited because I'm like an idiot. I'm the person who thinks, you know, I keep dating that terrible guy thinking he's not going to do that to me again, and then he does. And she says, you know, we must make Batman the thing that he hates most. And then Penguin says, you mean frame him? I'm like, no! That doesn't mean frame him. That means corrupt him. That means find out why he's dressed like a fucking bat and mess with his head. That means get inside. And as soon as he said frame him, I knew there was no movie and there was going to be no fun. And that's, you know, the external versus the internal. If we don't mess with the family, then there's no point in making the sequel. Do you want me to make the sequel or not? That was so cheap. Okay, number 1.
Hi, congratulations on being able to retell a lot of what happened in the series in the first 5 minutes. A lot of people get scared of time shift, that sort of thing. But I noticed there was a lot of things for me that harked back to both Buffy and Angel series. Like when they're all caught up in the hallway at the end, I was thinking back to the alleyway at the end of Angel. Did you deliberately put things in, or do you naturally put things in that are reminiscent of your past work, or that you know that fans will like to see here and there?
No, that's called running out of ideas. We're one of those things that I really love that people keep bringing up. I have certain, like most writers, I have certain things that obsess me, certain recurrent things, and The Last Stand Siege is definitely one of them that holds great meaning for me. I'm a huge fan of, you know, of The Wild Bunch, to use the prime example, but all of the things that came after as well. So, no, I'm not trying to evoke Buffy or Angel, but I am the guy who made them, so naturally there's going to be some stuff. I hear there's like a teenage girl's superpowers in this too. Get over it, Joss. But I can't, because I can't change like these people. Number 2.
Hi, I'm a big fan of Buffy and Angel, and even your letter in Runaways was brilliant. But on the downside, I'm also a Christian, so I've always wanted to ask you what you've got against me as such.
Well, this is a very important distinction. It's not Christianity, it's just you. I don't actually have anything against anybody unless their belief precludes everybody else's. I am an atheist and an absurdist and have been for many, many years. I've actually taken a huge amount of flack for that. People who have faith tend to think that people who don't have a belief system, and they don't care if they make fun of them. It's actually very difficult. Atheists are, as a group, not really recognized by the American public as people to be taken seriously. This does not mean that I rail against religion. However, the meaning of life and the meaning of what we do with our lives is something that's extremely important to me. I have included characters from many different religions, particularly in this show, but also in the other shows as well, because I'm interested in the concept. I think faith is an extraordinary thing. I'd like to have some, but I don't, and that's just how that works. But so Mal, generally speaking, in that would be my voice. But I don't think you can discount Book and what he has to say. I think he's an extraordinarily compassionate and wise and decent man, or, you know, wise and decent corpse. So when did you lose the audience? Well, it's a funny story. You know, there's one other thing I would mention, which is from Angel, actually. One of the few times that I really got to sort of say exactly what I think about the world was in the second season of Angel, in episode 16, when he'd gone all dark, because he does that, and then he was getting better, and he basically decided that, you know, the world, he'd been told the world is meaningless, nothing matters, and he said, you know, well, then, this is my statement, nothing matters, so the only thing that matters is what we do, which is what I believe. I believe that the only reality is how we treat each other. That morality comes from the absence of any grander scheme, not from the presence of any grander scheme. But then the next thing that somebody says to him is, well, you know, you burst into my apartment without being invited, which a vampire can't do, which is like a little miracle. And I just sort of let that hang. I said the thing I believed in most, and then I contradicted it right away. Because ultimately it's the confluence or the conflict of those ideas that's actually really interesting. So the answer is nothing unless you got something against me. But I hate Buddhists. I just hate them. No.
Hello, Joss.
Hello.
I'm going to go all cerebral on you now. The Blue Sun guys.
Not like that dumb question I got before. That's really
well, after
the light, airy thing about.
After last night, I thought the cerebral might be the way to go. So the Blue Sun group and the Blue Hand guys, I'm assuming that they're similar, that they're together, and I'm wondering if the Blue Sun Corporation is like the evil corporation that runs the Alliance. Is that something that you intended, like, on a layer in Firefly, and perhaps we'll examine in some of the sequels?
Yeah, I very much wanted to put that in the show, but I had off-screen an alliance, a parliament, 100 different things to take care of in a Blue Sun, which was basically supposed to be the McDonald's / Microsoft of, you know, the everything was definitely involved, but it was just too much in the soup. So unfortunately, they had to disappear. I would like to service them also in this infamous sequel that keeps coming up in this discussion, which is weird because it doesn't used to come up this much. But yeah, there's something else that I thought got short shrift.
And I got one last little thing. My friend's husband asked personally if you'd be interested in making Toy Story 3, perhaps about disgruntled Tamagotchis. Maybe you could do the dialogue. I don't know if they speak much though. So.
Yeah, I don't want to go that dark. And is anybody ever gruntled? I'm feeling very gruntled today. Number 4.
Hi. I was just wondering, were there any ideas from Firefly that you had to significantly change for Serenity because they didn't work in a movie format?
Well, apart from the Blue Sun thing, it was well, including the Blue Sun thing, it was not so much change as just jettison. There were so many threads that I had planned for all of the characters that we will never see because Firefly is no more, and you can only do as much as I was planning to do in a series. You couldn't do that certainly in one movie or even in a trilogy. Although I'm not going to tell you what they are, just in case. If I don't want people to say I only have the 3 ideas like that guy, but no, it's all good. And obviously, if the series were going, there would be 2 more people alive. That was a big change. But for the purposes of the film, I felt that I had no choice but to be really mean. It's number 1.
Hi. Hi. You have an interesting record when it comes to relationships, especially in Buffy and Angel, where 2 people finally get it together and then something dreadful happens. My friends and I have actually got a phrase for it. We call it getting jossed. So now that Zoe and Wash have been jossed quite thoroughly, do Simon and Kaylee have a chance at all?
What do you think? Doesn't look good. They're young, they're in love, they're happy, they're doomed. No. I believe that it's possible that they might be happy, and everything might go very well, and there might be no problems. But again, this all rests on a lot more people seeing the movie than I suspect will, because now it looks like the sequel's getting longer. But I'm rooting for him. Wait, where are we? Okay, 2.
Hi, Joss. A couple of us on the board were wondering what the safe word means. We've gone through lots of different languages trying to find
last night. The safe word is a Russian phrase, "Это куром на смех," which means this is absurd. I learned it from my Russian teacher when I was in school in England. The literal translation is, "This is laughter for chickens." Which I, as a child, thought if I ever write an autobiography, that's what I'm going to call it. Which, of course, is the sort of thing I did as a kid, was decide what my autobiography would say. And my tombstone. Spent a lot of time on my tombstone. And number 3.
Hey, Joss. Congratulations on making, I mean to say, the hottest phrase ever uttered on film. And I was wondering what your actors thought of the changes their characters had between the TV series and what we saw just now.
Well, Alan kept saying, my script ends at page 105. I don't have anything else. I was like, oh, that you land the ship. You win. That's it. That's the end. It's good. It's in his little crawl. You're fine. Yeah, he liked that change. The changes weren't that great. There was some shorthand and a little backtracking in terms of, in the show, Mal had really taken Simon in. Here, he's sort of saying, I haven't taken you in. But I felt it was, we made it sort of work timeline-wise because he was putting River in more and more danger, and therefore the conflict between him and Simon was flaring up again. So it wasn't just like, oh, we just hit reset. But basically their characters really didn't change that much except for Book's cornrows, which are awesome. Certain things just had to be simplified, that's all. And certain things sort of had to be taken for granted. And that was the hardest part about making the movie, was the things that we couldn't, that we didn't have time to explore that are so much fun. The fact that Inara and Kaylee, who dearly love each other, never actually exchange any dialogue. So I was like, can you guys stand near each other, maybe touch each other in this scene, because we don't have time for you to talk. In the first draft, they exchanged a lot of dialogue, but the first draft was 200 pages long and unfilmable. So, number 4.
Joss, constructed families is another one of these things that comes up with you. One of the things that struck me most about watching the Firefly box set was the documentary of the cast and how emotional they get as real people talking about being involved in Firefly. And after the series, obviously, when they turn up at conventions, even now still, when they talk about those days, they tend to cry a lot. I was wondering if you could
Summer
talk
will
about,
always cry.
Yeah, I was wondering if you could just talk about that kind of family of the real people that you brought together and obviously brought back together for the film and how that was.
Well, it sounds like bullshit when I say it because it's so extraordinary to me how they, and I'm just cussing like a sailor, and this is the first time they're filming this, aren't they? Isn't that just great? Hey kids, here's a new word. Let's all say it together. Sorry. But the fact is, the way they stayed together and the way they stayed with me throughout the thing was really extraordinary. And there's just a couple of things. One is, Wash had, that thing in Out of Gas. How many people have actually seen the series? Just out of curiosity, I think. Okay, so only the people with hands. Okay. He says, the thing with the big red button, when your miracle comes, you push this, we'll all come running. And Alan was the one who works the most. He's just constantly doing stuff. And so, he was the first to get a job. As soon as we were done, he was on to the next thing, and which I believe was iRobot. And I was busy trying to find a home for the place and thought, it's not going to happen. And I actually was talking to Tim Minear, because I've been working every day to try and find a home, someplace for the show. And I saw the actors, sort of starting to drift off, starting to get work. And I was like, okay, at what point does this stop being CPR and become necrophilia? And he's like, I don't know. That's kind of a weird question. No, it was Tim. It didn't faze him at all. He's like, what's wrong with that? And I really thought I was the only one out there. And I remember Alan came by, and I didn't see him because I was out. And he left. He had taken the button from the set when he left, and he had left it on my desk with a note that just said, when your miracle comes, press this and we'll all come running, Alan. And I was just like, okay, I'll keep trying. I'll just keep trying. And then when it got to, when it really looked like it was going to happen and they started to make deals with the actors, it was sort of a difficult process because part of the package was, we're not going to pay you anything. And that's how we're going to get all that money on the screen because it's not going to you guys. And but the deal-making process, no matter what, is very complicated. And people were calling each other. I mean, they would hang out when they could, and they'd see each other a lot and have barbecues and go hiking and do all this stuff and pal around. And but when it came time for deal making, they, a lot of them called Nathan and sort of said, we don't, we're not happy with this thing, and we don't know what to do, and blah blah blah. And everybody was calling everybody, and it was a big, I was about to say another new word for the kids, but I'll just say it was confusing. And Nathan called me and basically said, look, I don't feel comfortable settling my deal until everybody else is happy. I can't, just say, okay, this is fine for me until I know that everybody else is taken care of as well as I am. And some people involved were furious about this. They were like, they're getting together and they're talking about their contracts. That's collusion. They can't do that. And I was like, no, guys, that's a crew. That's a captain. That is exactly why we're making this movie. And he really did sort of. He had that presence on set during the show, during the movie. He led them. And not in the sense of bossing anybody around, just in the sense of always being there to make sure everybody was taken care of. will always be the most extraordinary bunch that I've ever put together, and I don't really take the credit for it. It just kind of happened. All right, I'll take some of the credit for it. That went on for a while, so number one is very excited about something.
How did you decide which cast members to kill?
My Dungeon Master's 20-sided dice.
Hizo tráiler. Visita mi canal.
And the weird thing is there were like extras. I mean, I didn't have 20 people, so I put a lot, but it came up with Washbook. No, you know what? At first I wasn't going to kill anybody, and then I was like, Joss, you have to make this real, especially for the people who haven't seen the series. They can't, if nobody gets hurt, if nobody gets a scratch in all this, then the last 40 minutes are going to be a lot of noise. They're not going to mean anything. But if the audience thinks that maybe I'm going to kill, say, everybody, like that great film, The Wild Bunch, then the stakes are a great deal higher. Who to kill? You do have certain restrictions about who to kill if you're actually going to sort of call it a happy ending, but ultimately it was I sort of went through the whole list and sort of tried different scenarios. I did a similar thing when I was writing the ill-fated Alien Resurrection. I had one character in one draft. He had 3 different death scenes throughout the movie, and then he was in the end of the movie too, because I hadn't figured out what I wanted to do with him exactly. So it's always fun to figure out who you're going to kill and get away with it. So, but it really was just. It wasn't like, oh well, I don't need Wash or I don't need Book. It was just. I can't worry about what I need, and I can't worry about this infamous sequel that we keep talking about. I just have to make this movie as compelling as possible. And killing Wash, particularly at that moment, not only put everybody in peril, but it gave Zoe something that she hadn't had for the rest of the movie, which was a very emotional arc, as opposed to just like, I am Zoe, the voice of reason and decency, with a gun. So, everybody who's not Ron or Alan wins.
Hi, Joss. As Giles would say, I see this subtext rapidly becoming text. One of the things I've noticed in the film, parallel to the making of the movie as well as the actual film, for example, the Alliance stifling the signal and a certain network stifling the series, and for example, Mr. Universe being perhaps parallel to Universal, bringing out the signal. What my question is... Well, my question is, how much of your own story do you actually put into your work?
Well, I haven't heard that one before. I've heard Mr. Universe referred to as a brown coat, as the fans, as the people who got the signal out. But you've given all the credit to Universal. And actually, they deserve enormous cred for what they've done. But no, I didn't name him that because of it. In fact, I'm laughing about it. But of course, I didn't name him Foxy either. For me, it's always extremely general. It's never supposed to be specific. The idea is to connect with the audience so that what they go through is what the character goes through. The shock and disbelief that they feel when Wash dies is how Zoe is. She's telling him to get up. She's not accepting it. She's sublimating it for later when she can take it out on some reavers. This is always the mandate, and sometimes, obviously, and actually often, and I think probably necessarily, my own life and my priorities or what's going on bleeds into it. But it was not specifically meant to be that this should so parallel the life of the movie and the series. During the series, we very much felt the parallels. We very much felt like we are losing the war. And Tim and I were, I actually wrote the flashback scene from one of the unaired episodes, The Message, that flashback for the war. I was trying to write the scene while Tim was filming, and sent him a version of it that was him and me. Waiting while all the executives came by one by one and said, "We haven't got our orders yet, but we love the show. We got to go." So that was an obvious parallel, but it was never intended. We had planned to win the war when we volunteered to fight it. And then with this, it just again somebody had to point it out to me that it was very similar. But the emotion of what I went through is something that I buried so incredibly deeply. I'm not at all surprised that it fell all over the script, because that's kind of how it works. If my therapy ever starts working, I'm out of a job. Number 3, 3-man.
Hi, Joss.
Wait, wave. Thanks. Hello.
Hi. I just wanted to bring it maybe down a notch from that deepness to Jane. For me, there was a really solid hint that family was the most important thing to Jane in the series. And what I wanted to ask was if you could talk us through maybe your vision for Jane in the series, and then possibly now any sequels, in terms of his interaction with the crew, because for me, he didn't perceive them as family.
I think, Jane is just somebody who, it's tough because I didn't really have a grand plan for Jane, and if I did, Adam kind of blew it for me, because we weren't really supposed to fall in love with Jane. I really thought you need somebody there who's just not trustworthy and not likable, and he's not trustworthy, and he's adorable. And what are you going to do? Besides the fact that, everybody really was interested in him, I found him fascinating. And I also liked the idea that, I, who always writes, the dreadful family situation, that the most sort of untrustworthy and mercenary of people actually came from a very well-adjusted family and, was perfectly happy with them. I would love to have met them, but I doubt that will happen. But I'm trying to think, and I'd have to say if somebody was going to play his dad, it would probably have to be Tommy Lee Jones. Because he's the only person I could think of putting the beat down on Adam Baldwin. 4.
Hi, Joss. Earlier you mentioned reusing ideas, and I was just wondering if you were at all apprehensive when casting Nathan, Gina and Adam in the roles in Firefly, knowing that fans would be so familiar with their roles in Buffy and Angel.
This is actually something that's happened ever since I've been here, and it happened in Britain as well, but not as much. Firefly was cancelled before any of those people were on Buffy or Angel. I met them all for the first time on Firefly, but because nobody saw Firefly until it was on DVD, nobody knew that. So most of the people who saw them on Buffy and Angel assumed that was the first time I'd used them. In fact, I was reticent to, because I had just used them in Firefly, and I thought, well, is this going to be too incestuous? And then I was like, wait a minute, they're really good at their jobs, and I like them. Just go there. And besides, when I needed a goddess, who are you going to call but Gina? So, in fact, all of that was after. Adam, Gina, and Nathan all came in to do arcs for me because we had already done the show. They knew I was still trying to get the movie together, but, they had some free time. They came through for me. I also wanted to put Morena on Angel, but she was doing a guest thing in another show, and Fox wouldn't let her. Weird how that comes up. Number 1.
Hi, Joss. Congratulations. It's fantastic.
Thank you. Next question. There's more. Okay.
I actually have 2 questions. The first one is, do you enjoy beating up Nathan? Because it seems to happen a lot. And secondly, I'm yet to find a female character of yours that I absolutely loathe. they are all such strong, determined women, no matter what they do, even Cordelia when she was a higher being. Have you based them on women in your life, or is it just happy coincidence that they're all that way?
I think it's definitely not coincidence. None of them is based specifically on the women in my life, although I was raised by an extraordinary woman, and I'm married to an even more extraordinary woman, and do like interesting women around. I've just always identified with females as heroes, and so they've always sort of come through. And you don't loathe any of them, which means finally somebody who likes Kennedy. This is very exciting. I was holding out. I knew it would happen. No, there are certain things that I have taken specifically in my scripts from my wife, from stories she's told me about her youth and stuff, because she is actually one of my personal heroes. You know, they're always well buried, so she doesn't sue.
Two? Hi, Joss. Like everyone else has said, thanks a lot for coming down here. Recurring themes notwithstanding, you seem to have a lot of ideas for different directions you could take the Firefly characters and universe. And I'm just sort of wondering if, given the opportunity, would you prefer to make Serenity 2 or Firefly Series 2, or could we possibly dare hope for both?
I don't think there will ever be a Firefly Series 2 simply because Firefly is a thing that is just gone. Circumstance alone would have changed it so much that it could never be what it was. I think there is the possibility you could do a show with, you know, some of these actors that was in that universe playing these parts, and you know, a spin-off or downsizing of the show, but I don't think you would ever get exactly the same chemistry, and so I wouldn't want to try. I think ultimately, if this were to be a fabulous hit, I would like to make more movies. They're fun, and just sort of see what happens. Both ideas appeal to me enormously. Both are exhausting to think about, but that should be my biggest problem. I have a feeling I'm going to know the answer to this, but just out of curiosity, what about you guys? Let me hear it for a movie over TV. Let me hear it for TV over a movie. That's what I thought. Okay, number 4.
Joss, as a director and a writer in the modern world, film and TV, what would you say is more important these days? Is it an idea that's original or an idea that sells?
Well, I've never had the original kind, so I think they're overrated. I think an idea that sells is not a phrase that I understand completely. Things sell. Some are original, some aren't. I think if somebody is trying to have an idea in order to sell it, then they have already missed the point, and the idea is not worth the money. I believe only in ideas that are true, that are personal, that have to do with the person who is telling the story. Those are the only things that really matter. It's very cool to come up with something funky, and oh my God, you put this with this, and it's going to be a thing. But if there's nothing behind that, if there's nothing personal, if there's no story, if there's no real humanity behind it, please don't bother. It's just not worth anybody's time. And I've seen so many things that are ingenious and kind of dead inside, and that do sell, and they interest me less than anything at all. Is that no? We're winding down, but first here comes a number 1. There'll probably be a couple more questions, and then you're going to all watch me fall asleep.
Joss, I think one of the things that makes you certainly I think the finest writer on TV is that is that you are very good at evolving a language in which your characters speak that is both yours and theirs. And I was very struck that a little while ago in answering a question you said, has anybody ever been gruntled? Which is a joke from P.G. Wodehouse, the English writer. Now, P.G. Wodehouse and Raymond Chandler...
I knew that.
Yes, sorry. P.G. Wodehouse and Raymond Chandler both went to the same English private school. They went to Dulwich College, and they both evolved a language, an English language for Wodehouse, a language of the mean streets of LA for Chandler. But they had an outsider's gaze on these things. You went to an English public school, you went to Winchester. Do you think there's a sort of mid-Atlantic poetry that you've evolved? Do you have a sort of outsider's look on the English language?
I think anybody who speaks it as badly as I do has to have an outsider's view. And let's have no snoring, please. I think actually that this stuff is fascinating. And if you don't want to talk about language, there's the exit. The fact is that language is my drug, is my life, is the thing that I love more than anything else, and absolutely it's about evolving. I mean, in this case, I think in those cases they were very personal to them. I mean, they evolved as styles, but they weren't meant to appear as such. In the case of Buffy, I was trying to create a sort of teen speak that would register but not sort of feel outdated, and the way to do that wasn't to use anything that people have said. It was about finding a rhythm and coming at sentences in a lateral fashion that would always change the way they spoke, so that they didn't repeat phrases. They just sort of always come at things a little bit sideways, and things would sound fresh even if you'd heard them before. With Firefly, it was very simple. I had to create a language because I was working in a science fiction universe, and that took a lot of disparate elements. But it was a deliberate thing. I was trying to create a kind of poetry. The key in science fiction is just, like the Chinese, make sure that the words that you're using that aren't necessarily still in common usage or ever were sound correct, or they sort of glide over them, so that when he says you're not a part of my family unless I conjure you are, you just sort of get what conjure means, figure, you understand it, but nobody ever says that anymore. That's taken from the Civil War. There's a lot of stuff taken from a lot of different places. I don't think I have one particular style that I could say is mine, but I think the way I create these very different styles is all sort of part of one thing, and I do think it has to do with the fact that I spent a lot of time at a British boarding school, and my sort of being torn between two continents, a man without a country, and not very good at his own mother tongue. Okay, number 4.
Hey, Joss.
Hey.
How you doing down there?
They love me. I'm killing. Except for these people.
So one of the things I've noticed that really differentiates the cast and crew from a lot of the other shows and movies we see is that how interactive they are, whether it's abusing comic book store owners or extolling the virtues of Veronica Mars online. So I was just wondering whether you think that's sort of impacted the, rabidity of the fan base into being the sort of mad beast that it is at the moment and helping the movie along.
I hope so. I don't think it's not a deliberate stratagem. Nathan was really pissed about that comic book store, and he really enjoys sort of getting on the internet and talking to people and seeing people at cons and things. I mean, they all really do have a great time doing it, and I know actors who really don't, who get kind of overwhelmed by it or creeped out by it. And these guys, to a man, they all have a blast doing it. And what can I say? I get on the internet. I got on the internet about Veronica Mars because I was losing my shit. I was just so excited. And that doesn't happen a lot, so I just sort of decided I have to talk to people on the internet about it. Because sometimes I do that. But I do think it's helped. I think because people understand that, yeah, we're just here. We're just, us guys typing on our, we're a bunch of nerds. In the case of the cast, extraordinarily good-looking nerds. In fact, I want to check their nerd IDs again. I think they might be fake, but they themselves are not. There you are, and I don't think you're in a numbered section. So can somebody, or you can just, yell or semaphore.
As a child, did you have a favourite toy? What was it? What was its name? And do you still have it?
I had a doll. Its name was Spider-Man. Here's a little thing, and I think you're all probably going to take this the wrong way. I had a teddy bear that was given to me. I was already like 12. It was given to me by a girl. But it was a teddy bear, and I liked it well. But I could never think of a name for it. It was a teddy bear. And, thinking of names for things. Let me put it this way. I had a set of knives in college. They all had names. Even the sharpener thing. They were like a superhero team of knives for me. They all had personalities. And when I was killing drifters one time, I thought about, this story's gotten too personal. No, it was just I love to cook. So able to name the knives, not able to name the teddy bear. As David Greenwald is fond of saying, there aren't enough couches in Vienna for the amount of analysis that I clearly need. I kind of wish I'd kept that story to myself. Thank you.
Hi, Joss.
How you doing?
Oh, that's loud. Lots of people have been asking really deep questions, and my brain isn't that big, so I'm just not. Plus there's a bit of hysterical deafness going on in my brain. Never mind. But yes. But what I was going to ask you is, I actually started asking you this last night and got interrupted. So if you could take 5 people to a desert island, who would they be?
5 people to a desert island. They're all alive people? This isn't another necrophilia reference. I'm just saying, like, people throughout history. Like, can I bring Cicero, or is it just peeps who are alive?
Either. But also, just before some people have been asking me, is it possible for you to do the dance of joy?
Okay. I'm sorry to interrupt your clapping with so much hatred, but it is not possible for me to do the dance of joy. And I mean this physically. I had knee surgery last month. So, but I want you to know that if I had not had knee surgery, I'm still not doing the dance of joy, okay? I was in full demon makeup, okay? It was really easy, okay? There's that, see that tiny little thing? That's my dignity, okay? Don't pull on it, okay? It's the only shred I got left. People, there will be no dancing, and Pony got all the singing that's in me tonight, so. Well, maybe a little more, just a few numbers. But this is one of those things. Okay, so the people are alive, right?
They can be alive or dead. It doesn't really matter. And are any of them cast members? Interesting.
Well, I can't choose a cast member because then the other ones will hear about it. I only took 5.
Oh, come on.
I'll be pissed. And they'd probably all be girls, and that would be a little unseemly. No, I'll pick people I've never met. Let's see.
Trailers. Visita mi canal.
Oh God, this is one of those things. Well, let's see, Jane Austen, because I always wanted to meet Jane Austen. She was my first. And she'd have to bathe, probably, because they weren't up on that then. Caligula, because, you gotta wonder. You gotta wonder. And, it's a desert island. Somebody's gotta be, master of ceremonies. Somebody who's alive. Emma Thompson. I can't help it. I just think she's so funny and fascinating. And that's 3. The 4th is going to be me. And the 5th is going to be George Bush, because we need something to eat. Cheap, maybe, but heartfelt. Okay, this will be our last question for me before I collapse into a heap. From number 4, the extraordinary, exciting question we've all been waiting to hear.
It's not so much a question as an offer. I'm glad you...
Excellent. Well, it's about time.
Sorry, it's not that exciting. I'm glad you mentioned the singing then, because I made a rather rash promise on the boards that there would be singing of the Ballad of Serenity. Rather than asking you to do it, I thought we could sing for you.
I like your plan, where I don't sing. Okay, prove it.
Are we ready? I'm not singing into that.
Do I have to continue? Amazingly enough, and that was beautifully rendered. Sitting here listening to it is almost as embarrassing as sitting here singing it. I should have just joined in. This is a perfect conclusion, since you guys have proved once again that they cannot, in fact, take the sky from me, or that if they do, I just take it back. I really want to thank you guys for coming. I guess I'm going to probably sign some stuff before I go, so we'll get that started. And thank you all very much. This has been fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming tonight. If any of you would like to get an autograph, Joss is going to be sitting at a table shortly. And we just have to ask, because there's a large number of people here, and Joss has got a full day of interviews tomorrow and a flight to Melbourne and another session tomorrow night, we really have to restrict everyone to one item. We're going to go row by row, and I think some of the guys here are going to give us a hand just kind of getting that started. So we'll just wait till Joss gets back. Once you've finished, if you wouldn't mind moving out of the auditorium, I think it's just going to make things move a bit more smoothly. But again, thank you very much for coming tonight, and I hope you had a great time.
Ja, maar exact.